Stephen A. Smith, the gift that keeps on giving, as we like to say, had an interesting exchange this week on First Take with Michael Kay, the Yankees' main announcer, where they asked Michael Kay who is the next team to win a championship in New York. Michael Kay says the Rangers, and Stephen A. immediately goes, "Oh, Lord." And to make the situation worse, Molly almost acts like Stephen A. is an 8-year-old kid who won't eat anything except chicken fingers. She literally says to Michael Kay, "For Stephen A., can you please just choose between basketball, baseball, and football when you're picking the champion? Because Stephen A. doesn't like hockey." It's just like, this is First Take. This is ESPN. ESPN owns the rights to a lot of NHL games, and this is their number one big show. They've invested so much money into Stephen A., and Michael Kay comes on, Mr. New York, right? He loves the Yankees. He wants to talk New York sports. He says the Rangers. Honestly, I will be completely honest. When I heard him say that, I was kind of like a little let down. But then on top of it, it only gets worse because Michael Kay ends up giving a complete non-answer. Molly and Stephen A. press him and say, "All right, well, you just need to choose between the big three sports, MLB, NBA, NFL, because I guess the NHL isn't a sport, according to Stephen A. And Michael Kay says the Yankees or the Mets. Well, that's not answering the question. This is a talk show, brother. You got to pick someone. I know you're biased to the Yankees, but that's like asking me who's going to win the Super Bowl next year and me saying the Chiefs or the Eagles. Like, okay, is there really a point to saying it? But this is just kind of a bigger picture thing with First Take just completely ignoring both the MLB and the NHL, kind of making it taboo. Stephen A. really not knowing much about either of them. I know he likes the Yankees. They had Michael Kay on, I would, assume to talk Yankees, Mets, both probably going to the playoffs this next year. Baseball's really good in New York right now, but I understand why First Take doesn't push the NHL at all, although it is a little surprising considering how much they've invested in terms of the broadcast rights to get NHL games recently. But it's like with the MLB, when you look at the popularity in America, the NFL by far is number one. Everyone, or at least a lot of young people on social media, think the NBA is number two, but it's really like it's a 1A or it's a 2A, 2B thing with the MLB and the NBA. The MLB, the World Series, outrates the finals every year by a lot. But the MLB has had issues with younger people, which makes it seem like there's a crazy disparity in terms of the popularity on social media networks, because all the young people are going to like the NBA over the MLB. And it's just funny to see Stephen A. At least he treats, the MLB as an actual sport. And the situation ended up apparently getting so bad where Stephen A. puts out a Twitter video, claims that it was just a joke and that he likes hockey. So I'm guessing someone at ESPN said, "Man, this is a bad look. You're asking a New York dude who's the next New York team to win a ring. He says a legitimate professional team, the New York Rangers, the NHL team, and you immediately dismiss it saying, 'Oh, Lord.'" And this is Stephen A.'s video that he put out.
Go Rangers! Go Rangers! Not go New York, go with the Knicks. I'm talking about the Rangers. I know you got something going on with Patrick Kane tonight, okay? Will you calm down? I was having a good time, having fun. Gary Bettman is my friend, okay? Relax, y'all. Relax. I understand the Rangers are all that, but they got a championship since 1994. It's them damn Knicks that haven't won since 1973. I'm sure you can understand why I'm aching a little bit more for the Knicks than the Rangers, okay? Mark Messier erased that 40-year-old curse, all right? For 50 years. Bottom line is this. The Rangers have a championship more recently than my New York Knicks. But I root for all things New York, and that includes the Rangers. So guess what, Rangers fans? Calm down, and let's do that hockey. Let's do that hockey.
So that's Stephen A. responding to the critics, and then on top of it, this makes it even more funny. In the comments, the NHL fans were quick to point out that the guy Stephen A. was talking about, Gary Bettman, is hated by NHL fans, and it's just funny that Stephen A. is so out of it when it comes to the NHL that he doesn't even know that. He's trying to use Gary Bettman as like, oh, you see, guys, I'm friends with him, when all the NHL fans hate Gary Bettman. So it's just something that was interesting to see there. And then we also, I don't know if anyone else watches the JRE, Joe Rogan Experience, but an NFL pass rusher, Derek Wolfe from the Denver Broncos, went on there a few days ago, and then it was uploaded yesterday, and apparently, he was talking about taking Adderall before every game and microdosing before every game, and with the NFL, guys, it's just so crazy. Like, he was talking about he would pop his shoulder back in every game. Your hands are getting broken, they're getting popped out, they're getting dislocated. We're just so disassociated from any of that, or at least I am. Like, when I watch an NFL game, I think there's like very little injuries, and like if you get injured, oh, you're out for the game. When in reality, especially the defensive and offensive linemen are getting injured every game, fixing themselves during games, not missing plays. Like the NFL, the idea of it, with crazy athletes hitting each other over and over again, it's just so ridiculous. Like, it's just crazy, and it's also the fact that they don't get fully guaranteed contracts compared to the other leagues, and what they do. But those guys probably do everything. They get away with it. I mean, it is weird that they did ruin the careers of some of the guys like Josh Gordon for weed and stuff. That seems very surprising, because I'm guessing a lot of them smoke weed and stuff. But I don't know. But either way, it's an interesting podcast if you want to listen to it. But yeah, so just the whole thing with Stephen A. not knowing the NHL and ESPN just kind of forgetting the MLB and the NHL exist, mainly probably because it has such a small presence on social media, especially the MLB, because it's like, again, the MLB is like right on par in terms of popularity, depending on what metric you look at. I mean, if you look at local TV ratings or just overall attendance, the MLB destroys the NBA, but the NBA's fans tend to be a lot younger, so it makes it look like there's such this huge disparity on Twitter. I mean, you take, for example, Mike Trout, compare his followers with LeBron or KD. I mean, they have just way more followers than Mike Trout, and Mike Trout's been the best player in the MLB for like a decade now. So I think that's the main reason they don't talk about it, and it was just funny that Michael K. says the New York Rangers and Stephen A. thinks it's not an acceptable answer. And then Molly sits there and says, can you just pick between baseball, basketball, and football for Stephen A? Like he's a 9-year-old who will only eat chicken fingers or something. I mean, she just made it worse. She's like, for Stephen A, can you please just do this? And Stephen A is like, oh, Lord. It's just so great for ESPN. And then ESPN executives get so angry they force Stephen A to put out a video saying it was somehow a joke, when it was so clear that his reaction was completely genuine. He was genuinely disappointed that Michael K said the New York Rangers, and he needed an actual answer. And then Michael K, on top of that, gives a total non-answer. This is a sports talk show, brother. You got to pick a team. All right, who's going to win the next championship in New York? It can't be the Yankees or the Mets, man. Come on. I know he's the announcer for the Yankees, but it was just, the whole situation was amazing. It was so funny. And that's just the latest with Stephen A. Smith and First Take. But guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.